Senator Paschal Mooney. I'd like to welcome Minister Varadkar to the House. Senator Mooney, you have 4 minutes.
Thank you very much indeed for taking this particular motion, which I raised under the order of business some weeks ago. I'm also grateful that the Minister for Health has taken the time from his busy schedule to be with us. I want to put on record straight away that in the context of this motion, I am not calling for a suspension of the vaccination programme at all. But what I am looking at is those mothers and their daughters, specifically daughters, who, a growing number in this country, are, in my opinion, not being treated in a holistic manner for the traumatic physical and mental side effects that have hit them, coincidentally or otherwise, within a couple of days of receiving this vaccination. We are also here today in the shadow of a High Court proceedings that are being taken by the mother of a daughter who received the HPV vaccine, and she is asking that an order restraining the Health Products Regulatory Authority, HIPRA, which monitors health products in Ireland, proceeding with the use of Gardasil in any vaccine programme. She is also saying that within 24 hours of receiving the vaccination in October 2011, her 11-year-old daughter presented with severe flu-like symptoms. Her daughter became extremely fatigued, suffered severe nausea, which led to weight loss and muscle wastage. Her daughter also missed days at school, was hospitalised with bilateral pneumonia the following year and was on antibiotics for 6 weeks. Her daughter is now disabled to the point she needs to be cared for on a permanent basis. This is all from today's Irish Times, from yesterday's Irish Times. I'm citing that particular example as one of the many that one can read on the Regret website, which is a group of parents that have set up a support group. Internationally, there is growing concern about the use of Gardasil, which I'm hoping the Minister will at least acknowledge. To date, Japan has suspended the vaccination programme. Denmark has asked the European Medical Agency to review the vaccine, and it has been decided that the Danish child vaccination programme will switch from using the drug Gardasil to Cervarix. Also, a presentation has been made to the Scottish Petitions Committee, in which it's pointed out that the points that I have made, and asking that the committee would accede to a request for a roundtable discussion to be held in Edinburgh between scientists and medical professionals from both sides of the HPV vaccine safety debate. According to Merck's own statistics, some 183 million doses of Gardasil have been distributed worldwide, and using their own clinical trial percentage, this means there could be as many as 6 million plus girls around the world suffering autoimmune conditions which could very well influence their health for the rest of their lives. According to the World Cancer Research Foundation, there were 528,000 cases of cervical cancer diagnosed worldwide in 2012, and the question is asked, Minister, is this worth the risk? What I'm really asking for here, though, is that there would be some acknowledgement by the Irish health authorities that there is something intrinsically wrong medically with the over 100 girls that have now been identified by Regret, the support group, as having similar type symptoms within days of receiving the vaccination. And I am very aware that the entire medical establishment in this country and your own department have set their face against having any discussion or investigation about this. They're basing it on, well, it's going to happen anyway, that every medicine and every vaccination has side effects, and this is within the tolerable level. But when you drill it down, Minister, there are parents who are spending huge sums of money on trying to get treatment for their daughters, and I would ask that at least that there might be some recognition of the financial crisis that many of them are facing as a result of this, and who genuinely believe that it is as a direct result of the vaccination. I'm also aware, although it's anecdotal, and everything I've said so far on the record is factual, by the way. This isn't about scaremongering or anything. This is factual. The Danish government have given 7 million kroner for an independent investigation. The Japanese have suspended it. There's also the EMA are looking at an evaluation of Gardasil and Cervarix initiated by the French government. So it's not as if these are isolated cases. There is a growing body of international opinion now that suggests that something is wrong somewhere. And all I am pleading with you is that you would, at least from the Irish perspective, and I appreciate that HIPRA are engaged in the EMA evaluation that's currently underway, but I would hope that there might be some recognition that the trauma that's been suffered by these children, that it would be recognised by the Irish health authorities, that, for example, that they might be able to get some financial benefit, they may be entitled, they may be granted medical cards, which has happened in the case of other conditions in previous years, something along those lines, but that at least that there might be some recognition that there is something wrong somewhere along the line, and the parents genuinely believe that it is as a direct result of the HPV vaccination. But I want to reiterate, this isn't about suspension of it. This is about acknowledging that there is something going on out there, and that the Irish health authorities will not turn their face away from a growing body of international opinion, from member states who themselves are now beginning to acknowledge that there is something there, and that we would at least join that particular chorus that is growing, and I don't believe it's going to go away.
I want to thank Senator Mooney for giving me the opportunity to update the House on this important matter. Firstly, I want to acknowledge the concerns of families who believe their daughters have experienced adverse reactions and health issues after receiving the HPV vaccine. The vaccine protects against two high-risk types of HPV that cause 73% of all cervical cancers, and it's estimated that HPV vaccination will save 60 lives annually in this country. The vaccine used in the school immunisation programme is Gardasil, a fully tested vaccine which was licensed by the European Medicines Agency back in 2006. Following this, the National Immunisation Advisory Committee recommended that the vaccine should be offered to all girls aged 12 years on an annual basis. The Health Products Regulatory Authority is the regulatory authority for medicines in Ireland. While no medicine, including vaccines, is entirely without risk, the safety profile of Gardasil has been continuously monitored since it was first authorised nationally and at an EU level. Decisions on the supply of vaccines are undertaken by specific expert agencies rather than being the responsibility of the Minister for the day. This is as it should be, and ensures that decisions are made solely on scientific information and expert advice, rather than being influenced by political pressure or lobbying. As part of its monitoring of the safety of medicines, the HPRA operates an adverse reaction reporting system, where healthcare professionals and patients are encouraged to report adverse reactions they consider may be associated with their treatment. All reports received are evaluated and considered for the safety profile of the product concerned, with reports followed up as necessary for further information that may assist in the assessment of the case. I had been informed by the HPRA that up to the 9th of October it had received 921 reports of suspected adverse reactions or events notified in association with the use of the vaccine. The vast majority have been consistent with the expected pattern of adverse events for vaccines, as described in the product information, such as GI symptoms, malaise, headache, dizziness, soreness or a rash at the injection site. These are short-lived. As is the case for all licensed medicines, the safety of these vaccines is monitored by the Pharmacovigilance and Risk Assessment Committee, an EU-level drug safety committee where the authority is represented and actively contributes. I am also aware that the European Medicines Agency has commenced a review of the HPV vaccine to further clarify aspects of their safety profile, although the agency points out that this review does not question that the benefits of the HPV vaccine outweigh their risks. The HPRA is also participating in the review which aims to clarify aspects of their safety profile and is specifically focusing on rare reports of two conditions, complex regional pain syndrome and postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. In the meantime, the EMA has advised healthcare professionals that available data does not warrant any change to the use of the HPV vaccines. Healthcare professionals should therefore continue using them in accordance with their current product information. Any changes to this advice will be made following the outcome of the review.
Brief question, Senator.
Yeah, I thank the Minister, and I'm glad that he has put on the record that there are 921 reports of suspected adverse reactions. Also, to say that the symptoms that he has outlined in the same paragraph are short-lived, tell that to the parents of the 100+, with respect, Minister, who have been experiencing much more serious medical and emotional and mental conditions for years after, 2, 3 and 4 years, who got the vaccination at 11 and 12 years of age, citing the current court case. All that I have asked and it hasn't been forthcoming, is that there would be at least some acknowledgement that there is something going on in relation to this. And one last and final question is, why is it that the Health Authority, the HSE, in providing the pack to parents and under the vaccination programme, do not provide the pill, the information leaflet that is provided by Gardasil Merck themselves? They actually provide a different information package. And I have read the information leaflet that accompanies the HPV Gardasil vaccine, and it makes for frightening reading. And I also know that, anecdotally, that there are GPs around the country, as a result of this growing concern about the efficacy of Gardasil and about its possible side effects, are not recommending that the vaccination should be given. So there are issues that you, as Minister, obviously cannot ignore. But I'm specifically asking, are you happy with the fact that the information leaflet provided by Merck, who manufacture Gardasil, is not provided to parents before they sign the consent form?
Yeah, I'm advised that all the information provided to parents about the vaccination is prepared from the available licence documentation for each vaccine. This is the summary of products, characteristics, the SPC and the patient information leaflet. The information is presented in clear, simple language and approved by the National Adult Literacy Agency, so that it can be understood by all adults, as the average reading age in Ireland is lower than the adult age. Prior to all school immunisations, parents receive an information pack in a sealed package with an information leaflet, consent form and cover letter. The information packs for all immunisations are standardised nationally, and the information booklets include information on the most common adverse events that can occur after each vaccine. For school vaccines, parents are also given the contact details of their local immunisation office and advised to speak to members of the school immunisation team if they have any further questions. Each information leaflet also refers patients to the National Immunisation website, www.immunisation.ie, where additional information, including the licence documentation, the SPC and the PIL for each vaccine are found. The National Immunisation website has been accredited by the World Health Organization for credibility, content and good information practices. The website allows members of the public to contact the National Information Office to ask any question if they require further information. These questions, when possible, are answered by the staff of the Immunisation Office within one working day.
Minister. Are you taking the second motion, Minister?
I am.
Senator Power.